All right, welcome everybody. This session is going to be an educator's guide to Twitter. We'll just walk you through some basic Twitter concepts, and we'll hopefully be able to elevate your Twitter knowledge and your Twitter capabilities and be able to boost those things up. I'm going to be hosting your session today. You can find me at Twitter. My Twitter handle is @airblair3, as you see right there in the middle of the screen. Twitter is one of those tools that at Lakeview here we've been stressing the importance of using. A lot of the administration has been on board, and we've been doing different challenges and different things to get people more involved with Twitter. I would expect that to continue in the 2017-2018 school year. But I'm going to show you some ways that we can use Twitter to help us become better educators, be more connected with like-minded people, and just really be able to find information that's going to help benefit our kids in our classroom and just provide us with an overall great experience. I've included a table of contents here to kind of give you an idea of what's coming up in this session, and also provides kind of an approximate time in the video where each topic comes up. That'll give you the ability to maybe replay sessions or parts of the video as you see fit, or if you feel like you have a pretty good grasp on a concept and you want to jump forward to something maybe a little bit different, please feel free to do so at any time. One quick note, if you have a separate device, like for me, I've got my cell phone here, it may be helpful to be able to use more than one device so that you can watch the video and you can walk through some of the things on the concepts on Twitter here that we're going to go through. You are certainly welcome to jump back and forth if you're just using like your own iPad. Jump back and forth between the video and hopping on Twitter is certainly allowable too, whichever feels more comfortable for you. One of the things that we need to understand kind of at the beginning is why Twitter as a tool for educators is so important. Most people who think about Twitter and other social medias like Facebook and Instagram and all of those types of sites just think of it as a way for people to send out, you know, what am I doing today, or what am I eating, or what are my friends and people, what are they up to? And there certainly is some of that still takes place, but Twitter has really started to transform into this place where teachers and other educators can get together and they can share ideas and they can bounce ideas off of each other and really have turned it into a valuable place for people to learn and to grow and to be better educators and better students. The two Twitter accounts that I have pulled up on the page right now are people that you may be familiar with. The guy on the right there, Todd Whitaker, is the person that we had at the last MERVED meeting. He is a absolutely huge proponent of Twitter for education. The quote that he had there at the bottom was, "Twitter for educators is not an obligation, it's a no-brainer." The idea that he gave was that why, as educators, would you not want to learn from the smartest people? There's so many people out there with great ideas about how to do things differently or how to do things better, or great lessons or great ideas. It's just finding and being able to share those ideas. Twitter is such an easy place to find and share ideas with each other, as long as you know where to look. The guy on the left you may not recognize as much. You will, however, be hearing from him next spring at the next MERVED consortium meeting. His name is George Caros. He is the Director of Innovation and Technology at Highland Public Schools in Northern Canada. He's someone that I've had the fortune of listening to a couple of times. He's just a phenomenal speaker. He speaks a lot on school culture, on innovation, on creativity, and how to foster those things in our kids. He's one of the most energetic, and he's a very highly thought of and well-regarded speaker in the educational technology world. Both of these guys, what you're gonna find that they have in common is that they both really push for Twitter, for educators to be involved with Twitter, to put themselves out there, to develop what they call PLN, their personal learning network, and just really connect and share with educators in the Twitter space. And they are two people that I would highly recommend following. This graphic just kind of shows some of the basics of Twitter. Some of these things that we'll kind of cover as we get going a little bit in the session. people that are a little bit more experienced with Twitter and have some knowledge maybe can kind of skip through some of these things. I just want to point out some of the things and kind of how they are used in the Twitter setting. Some of the most important things to kind of keep in mind are things like tweets, 140 characters or less, very short messages, can contain links, photos, those types of things are just the very basis of what Twitter is. One of the things that you hear the most about is a retweet. A retweet is taking somebody else's post and basically posting it on your own page. Following and followers kind of go together. Following is people that you subscribe to. Whenever they send out a tweet, it kind of shows up in your news feed, similar to what you would see when you friend someone on Facebook. A follower is a person that has chosen to follow you. Anytime you send out a tweet or some sort of piece of information, it'll show up in their news feed. The @ symbol is used a lot in Twitter. That when you put the @ symbol and then somebody's Twitter handle will send them a notification and lets them know that somebody has either mentioned them or is sending kind of a little message to someone. Even though someone has used the @ symbol in their name, it is still something that is public. Other people can still see that tweet. It just kind of gives a little notification that is being sent to you. Hashtag is going to be one of the big topics that we talk about today. A lot of people recognize it also as the number sign. Kids, the younger generation, they're all going to recognize it right away as the hashtag. It's a way to kind of search for information, things that are people that are tweeting about that use a hashtag. You'll be able to kind of quickly search and be able to find topics and keywords in a tweet, and it's really just a helpful way to search for information quickly. All right, I think it's time to just kind of jump right in here. You're going to see my screen has Twitter pulled up just to kind of walk you through some of the different things that I'm talking about. My version of Twitter is going to be the mobile version, so if I use the Safari on my iPad and search twitter.com, this is what's going to show up. The desktop version, like you would go on a computer or a laptop, is going to look a little bit different than what my screen would look like. There's also an Apple App Store app for Twitter that I highly recommend. It just kind of simplifies things. It makes things easy to navigate, and it's just a lot easier to access that I would highly recommend you to download. Most of the people that at our school already have a Twitter account. If you do not, you have the ability to sign up for one here. So by clicking the sign up button, there's a couple different ways to sign up using either email or a phone number or something like that. At some point, it's going to ask you to make a username or your Twitter handle. I highly recommend keeping it somewhat professional. A lot of people at our school have incorporated the 2167 into their username. You have the opportunity, if you would rather not use like your first name, Mrs., Mr., depending on how comfortable you are with putting yourself out there on Twitter. Just kind of keeping in mind something short, something simple, and something people can find you by is the best rule of thumb to use when signing up for a Twitter account. You can go ahead and pause the video, walk yourself through the signing up feature. If you already have an account, you can work yourself to log in. I'll go ahead and get my Twitter account logged in here. So when you first log on to Twitter, you're going to see what's called your timeline. When you follow people, this is where what they send out is going to show up. So I follow about 250 different people, some of them in the education world. Some of them are my own personal friends. I like to follow different apps, different sports teams, different events. I seem to have a wide variety of different things that I follow, and it's certainly okay to mix, the educational experience with your own personal choices and things that you're interested in reading about. Navigating through Twitter is kind of a fairly self-explanatory measure. There's not a lot of places where you should get too lost, but I just kind of want to walk you through some of the different buttons and what they're going to be able to do for you. So underneath each tweet, as we look at them, is going to be some different options. So this little back arrow right here is the ability to reply to tweets. So you can see a guy that I follow that I have happened to get to know over Twitter posted a little video about blended learning, and it's something that I really enjoy, and it's a concept that you're actually going to have the opportunity to learn about. So I just posted a little reply to him. Awesome, thanks for sharing, and it was just kind of one way to let him know that I really liked the video that he sent out. The second button there, the little box with the arrows, is the ability to retweet something. Now retweeting is when you take something and you send it out to your own followers. So if I click on the retweet button, I'm going to get the option to retweet, just send it out exactly like it is, or quote the tweet, meaning I can add my own little comment on top of what I already sent out for them. The third button, the little heart, is the like button. That's going to give you the opportunity to just like it, just like you would see on Facebook or any other social media. So the like button there. And then the last one is a little message. We'll talk about that here shortly. Along the top, again, this is the mobile version, so it might be in a different place, but you're going to see the birdhouse. Whenever you click on your birdhouse, that's going to bring you back to the top of your timeline. You'll sometimes see when new tweets come along, there will be a little blue dot next to that birdhouse, and that's where you know that somebody has tweeted out something new that you can look at. Arguably, the most important part of Twitter, or the best feature, is the search feature. So if I click on the search feature, I'm going to have the opportunity to be able to search for different keywords, different topics, different people on Twitter. So when I click on search, it brings me to things that are trending. So things that are popular right now, of things that maybe I follow, all along the different lines. Like I said, keywords, people, topics, all those things are trending right now. One of the things that I like to do is search for different hashtags. So EdCamp Mid-Minnesota is something that looks like I have a couple of friends at. And they're tweeting about different things that are happening at EdCamp Mid-Minnesota. Just kind of a cool way, even though I'm not in attendance, to be able to see what they're saying and different people and just collect a lot of ideas in a short amount of time. I can click on different people, I can see what they've been saying, and just a really awesome way to be able to kind of search and just find things that are interesting for me. If I wanted to search for something different than EdCamp Mid-Minnesota, I can search for specific people. So for me, I am going to search for a specific person. Now, one of the driving forces behind Twitter at our school, Mrs. Wilbur has her own Twitter handle, @Wilbur2167. When I click on her, it shows me her Twitter account. The little blue person right here indicates that I am following her already. If it was white, I would have the opportunity to kind of follow her and see what she's been posting. I can see the things that Mrs. Wilbur has been sharing out. And one of the things that I wanted to point out was that Mrs. Wilbur has been reading The Innovator's Mindset, a book by none other than Mr. George Gross, one of the guys that I highlighted at the beginning of my little speech here. So the search feature is just really important to be able to navigate around, search for things that you're interested in about, and to be able to get yourself around Twitter. The last button that I'm going to show as I go back to my own timeline, get myself back here, is the little bell here. It's the notifications. Anytime someone interacts with a tweet or interacts with you, you're going to get a little notification here. It shows when people have liked tweets that you've put out. It shows when people have replied to stuff that you have posted, or it shows when people have followed you. So anytime someone interacts with you, you'll get a little notification there on the bell. The last option there, the little messages, is a direct message on Twitter. It's a way to privately message someone on Twitter. If you ever feel the need to message someone and you didn't want other people to be able to see it, that is the opportunity that you would have there. We'll dive into some more of those features kind of as we go along here and how to best utilize those buttons to be able to get yourself to become a Twitter expert. What we're going to talk about now is hashtags. Now, hashtags are really what separates Twitter for educators and makes it such a useful resource. Last year, we used the hashtag at our school of Lakeview Pride. So if we searched Lakeview Pride, which I'm going to see if I can't pull it up here. So hashtag Lakeview Pride. Looks like it should start to pop up here. Lakeview Pride. Okay, we can see all of the stuff that people have been talking about with Lakeview Pride. Now, this was a really great way for our school to promote the awesome things that have been going on here and just really provide people an insight into the culture of what goes on here at Lakeview. It was a great idea, hopefully something that we continue throughout this school year. But I want to show you how hashtags can be utilized in different ways to really make a positive impact on a teacher and how they can continue to grow and continue to learn as educators. So some of the things you need to know about hashtags is that literally anything can be turned into a hashtag. Any idea, any concept, just by putting that little number sign or hashtag in front of a set of words turns something into a searchable hashtag. Now there are a lot of hashtags in the education world that are already created and are really, really strong and are widely used. And I'm going to show you a few of those, but one of the things that I'm going to have you do is to search for hashtags and just to see what's out there relevant to what maybe you teach or maybe what you are interested in. The most basic one for teachers is just hashtag EdChat. So if I just search hashtag EdChat, you're going to see all the things that people have been posting about when they use the hashtag EdChat. Now you have two options here, and I just want to point this out. The top button here shows tweets that have been interacted with a lot. You can see right here, this one has 515 likes, 281 retweets, and 6 people have replied to that tweet. So that means it's been really a popular tweet. And you can see if I tap on his tweet, it says each kid deserves an educator who won't hold their past transgressions against them and will allow each kid to start fresh each day. Hashtag EdChat. So just an idea that that person came up with and really just wanted to put out there, and it's been a popular post. You can search as you scroll down. It looks like just ideas. Looks like somebody made book covers into their lockers, and just the more you scroll down, the more things you're going to see. You can click on stuff, you can interact with them, all by just searching a simple hashtag. So this is just a general hashtag EdChat, one for all educators to be able to come and interact with and just see different things. If I wanted to see every single tweet that somebody had used EdChat, I just click on the latest button and you can see everything, the last one being, I think, just a matter of 15 minutes ago. So again, I can scroll down, I can see ideas that people have been putting out there, all by just searching EdChat. Whatever you're interested in, whatever you teach, whatever topics that you work on with kids are all findable in a hashtag. One of the hashtags that personally that I use the most would be hashtag EdTech. This is just a technology and education hashtag where people bounce ideas off of each other and just come to share great ideas. So hashtag EdTech, a place for you to see kind of what things have been going on in different hashtags. Like I said, literally any topic or keyword can be turned into a hashtag. If you teach a class like, I'm going to use social studies here, or maybe even a grade like 4th grade. I'm going to go hashtag 4th chat. And this is a place where 4th grade teachers just come and they share ideas. Somebody looking for help on changing grades and they want to start following some awesome 4th grade reading or writing teachers. If I wanted to click on that, I could see some different people that I could follow, and it's just a really great way to easily connect with people, different ideas and topics like that. The next slide is actually going to have different hashtags that I highly recommend. Again, there are so many hashtags out there that you could be able to search just by trying to use the search button, just by Googling or following people. You're going to find really, really great ways to use and find hashtags. The last thing I'm going to kind of show here is when I post a new tweet. So I'm going to use this little button right down here, the only one that I didn't show from before. Anytime I'm putting out a tweet, let's see if I can get it here. Okay, like I said, a hashtag 4th chat. I can post a little message like excited to join this great group. I can tweet it out there, and after I've done that, my tweet is going to have that hashtag, and I can search. If I can get back to my profile here. And there we go. I just used the hashtag fourth chat, put myself out there, see if I can connect with some other fourth grade teachers that are maybe willing to share ideas and different things that will probably be new for me. Like I kind of mentioned previously, with hashtags, there are already so many that are already out there. They're going strong. People seem to contribute to them all the time that you just need to go out and search for whatever interests you, whether you teach a specific class, whether you teach or are looking for a specific topic. Hashtags are really for everybody and are really what makes Twitter the best place for educators. I've provided a little bit of a start of a list here of just ideas and topics and concepts for you to kind of keep in mind. When you have to search for a hashtag later on as part of the requirement piece for this session, there are lots of things you can search for. By all means, be on the lookout for other things that interest you. Just hashtags like hashtag EdChat, hashtag EdTech, a couple of the ones that I showed, but even things like hashtag iPad Ed, looking for iPad ideas or one-to-one ideas, or for a lot of us where standards-based learning is new. There's a chat for that one. I know Mr. Sealing is really active in that chat and has gotten a lot of great ideas from other educators in the area of standards-based learning. Like I said, anything can be turned into a hashtag. There's probably already stuff out there for you to look for, to search through when you use hashtags. We're going to talk about kind of the top of the educational Twitter experience, and that's a Twitter chat. Now, Twitter chats are exactly what they sound like. They're a place where educators on Twitter get together, usually 1 hour once a week, and they talk about similar topics and questions that they might have. So for this purposes, I am going to search for the hashtag or the Twitter chat of EdTech Chat. So if I search on Twitter, hashtag EdTech Chat, I'm going to be able to see what other people have been talking about. Now I know that EdTech Chat takes place Monday nights starting at 7 Eastern Time. So if I wanted to see what the questions are and what people were talking about on a given night, I could log on at that time, and I would need to find the person that is the moderator. Now, in this case, the first person that shows up here when I search, it happens to be my moderator. If I didn't know who the moderator was, I could hit the latest button, and I would be able to see who is posting the questions. Now, they use a format called question and answer, so you're going to see people who will post Q for question and then a number, and then all of the responses will be listed as A for answer and then the same number. So in this case, Susan Bearden is one of the EdTech Chat moderators, and if I clicked on her and see maybe what some of the questions were that she posted from last week, I can kind of give you an idea of how an EdTech Chat worked. So if I scroll on her timeline all the way down to Monday, the 11th, I could see some of the things she posted. So she posted one of the questions, question 4, how do you balance summer professional learning with taking a break? If I wanted to see what everybody was posting to that, I could just go back, I could look in EdTech Chat, and anybody who put A4 would be answering that question. And now when you watch or participate in a Twitter chat, you're going to see people who will reply to you, will, maybe like your posts. There's a lot of interaction that goes on. The cool part is you don't necessarily need to participate to gain valuable information. Because Twitter is such a public place, you can see everything that other people are posting and maybe have a chance to get ideas, to find people who are like-minded like you, and maybe you can start following them or are able to just see what types of things that they're talking about. You don't need to participate in a Twitter chat to be able to gain very valuable information. So usually in a Twitter chat, they post about 5 or 6 questions in an hour, and you can just sit back, refresh the page, and see all the things that people have been posting about the questions for that night. Now down along the bottom of the page, I've listed a site, a Google site specifically, that has all of the list of Twitter chats. You're going to see there are hundreds of Twitter chats that take place throughout the week. If you can find one that would be valuable for you, you'd be surprised at how much you can learn in just that short hour of time. All by just searching your hashtag, or in this case a Twitter chat of EdTech Chat, and being able to just sit back and learn information. All right, I'm going to give you a quick list of people that I recommend to follow on Twitter. With Twitter, so much of what you're going to get out of it comes down to two things. It comes down to where you look and who you follow. Now, I've broken this list down into a couple of different categories here. In category one, I have people who focus more on just general education. You can kind of see the list there. Category two, I have more of the technology side of things, different people that tweet out really good ideas or just are really passionate about the world of technology in education. You'll also notice I included a couple of apps there, Seesaw and Green Screen by Doing. Both of those tweet out really good ideas about how they can incorporate their apps and their products into everyday teaching. Nearly every single major educational app or educational site or product is going to have a Twitter account that really does a good job of promoting their products. They tweet out example projects of just what other people are doing and are really good about interacting with their customers. To really get the most out of Twitter, you need to make sure you follow people that you don't necessarily always know personally. This is a big part of where Twitter differs from like Facebook, where you would want to make sure you know people personally. In the world of education on Twitter, it's highly encouraged that you step outside of your normal circle and find people that have similar ideas that you can connect with. So again, I just encourage you to browse through this list, find people on Twitter. A couple of tips that are really helpful for finding good people to follow on Twitter would be to find someone that is really involved with Twitter and then click on their followers and see who follows them and who they follow. It's a really easy way to see maybe what other people are up to and just good accounts to follow. Also, if you click on your own Twitter profile, a lot of times Twitter will suggest people to follow based on who you already follow. They do a really good job of giving good recommendations on people to follow. After the completion of this video, you're going to see in the Schoology resources page that I have included a list of all of the Lakeview staff members that are on Twitter and where to find them. I'm also going to include accounts that are closely related to the Lakeview School District. So again, I'm going to encourage you to step outside your comfort zone, find other educators, other people in the technology world, people that you can connect with, that you can learn from, and hopefully grow as an educator. One of the last parts of this session is going to be how do we implement what we've talked about today? The biggest thing that I can tell you for how to implement Twitter is just to really take one of the things that we talked about, whether it's finding people to follow or participating in a Twitter chat, or even just searching on one of the hashtags we looked at. Find whatever fits best for you. Whether you go on Twitter, once a day or once a week, or if you're on every couple of minutes like I am, find whatever fits best for you, and you'd be amazed at how much information you can find out there, how easy it is to connect with other educators who are interested in the same things that you, or who might be able to help solve problems or give you different ideas. Whether you follow people or search hashtags, there's so much great information out there that the power of Twitter will really change the way you are as an educator and will really be a great benefit to your classroom. The last part of the video here is just going to be some general do's and don'ts for using Twitter as an educator. The first thing I think that is really important is to make sure you're using that search feature, whether you're searching for people or you're searching for hashtags or Twitter chats or whatever you're looking for. Using that search feature is going to be the fastest way and the easiest way to find whatever it is you're looking for. The second thing is everybody's going to have a different comfort level with Twitter. Don't be afraid to just sit and watch. Just kind of sit, enjoy. You don't necessarily need to be sending out a ton of tweets if that's not something you're comfortable with. But Twitter is such a valuable resource that everybody should be utilizing all of its features. The third thing is, on the other hand, if you are doing awesome things either in your classroom or you have great ideas, share those things out. People that are following you, people at this school want to know the great things that are going on. We talked about school culture and developing that online presence, and using Twitter and that hashtag Lakeview Pride is going to be a great way for us to do that. And then the last thing is just keep at it. Like I talked about, whether it's one day a week or once a day or whatever it is, just make sure you're keeping up with your Twitter. You know, if you have interactions and stuff, it's important to keep up with those. Know if people are replying to you or if they're interacting with you in any way. Just some general make sure probably not to follow students. It gets a little bit tricky there especially with the older students, of knowing kind of what's going on in their personal lives. It just kind of is a gray line that we try not to cross. The other thing, like I talked about, is ignoring those interactions. When people interact with you, whether they follow you or whether they interact with your post, they reply or retweet, it's just good to keep up with those things, know what people are doing and saying, and it's just a common courtesy in the world of Twitter. And then the other thing is, make sure not to follow only your friends and your coworkers. The whole point of Twitter and the whole point of this session is to expand that outreach, expand our professional learning network, and just find people that you can follow. And I guess the last thing is I highly recommend not following Andy Dahlman. If you want terrible golfing advice, then sure, go ahead and follow Andy Dahlman. But other than that, he really isn't interesting. He doesn't really have anything to say. I wouldn't follow Andy Dahlman. It's kind of funny because odds are he's not going to watch this video. So you let him know that I said do not follow Andy Dahlman on Twitter. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter @AirBlair3.